Hi everyone, our lesson for today is all about the population problem. But before we proceed to our discussion, let me first highlight the three topics under this lesson. First is all about the world population. Second, causes and effects of overpopulation. And the third one, issues and problems concerning population control. Since we're going to discuss about the population, let's define first the population. The term population may be defined as a collection of elements capable of increasing, decreasing, or remaining more or less stable. We can speak of human population, animal population, or herbivorous population, like trees, grass, palms, and the like. Let's proceed to our topic 1, the world population. So the population of the world, now someone in excess of 3 billion persons, is growing at about 2% a year, or faster than any other period in man's history. The rates of population growth are not the same, of course, in all parts of the world. Among the industrialized countries like Japan and most of the countries of Europe are now growing relatively slowly, doubling their populations in 50 to 100 years. Another group of industrialized countries like the United States, the Soviet Union, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and Argentina are doubling their populations in 30 to 40 years, approximately the world average. So how about the Philippines and the population density of the Philippines? So the Philippines is an archipelago made up of over 7,000 islands that total 115 and 831 square miles, or 300,000 square kilometers. Most of the islands are pretty small, but a few larger ones like Luzon and Mindanao account for a large portion of the surface area. The islands are broken up into three categories, as we all know. We have Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, which are basically north, central, and south, respectively. While some islands are much more populated than others, the overall population density of the Philippines is 939 people per square mile, or 363 people per square kilometer. The population of the Philippines has been steadily growing for many years. It is the 13th most populated country in the world. The 2020 population is 109.58 million according to the latest UN estimates. Did you know that the Philippine population in 1591, a few years after Spain formally colonized the country, is only 670,000 people? This was even less than the population of Makati today. After 144 years, in 1735, the population increased to 840,000, an increase of only 170,000 or 25.37%. Then, in 1799 or after 64 years, the population almost doubled to 1.5 million. After another 51 years, it became 3.10 million, more than double. And since the early 1900s, our population has been doubling every 32 years. For instance, in 1918, there were 10.31 million Filipinos. In 1948, the population became 19.32 million. In 1970, 37 million. In 1991, 62.35 million. And by the year of 2010, the projected population is 86.5 million. So just imagine the population of the Philippines in the next years. According to the United Nations estimate, 400 million people in the world go to bed hungry, and this number is expected to increase in the next decade. This is a clear indication that food production is unable to sustain a runaway population growth. Nowadays, people increase and multiply very fast. There are different factors affecting the population growth. The rate of population growth may be affected by biological, sociological, political, or may even be religious. But today we're going to talk about the causes and effects of overpopulation. So, because of overpopulation, they put pressure on the Earth's resources. While it is true that human intelligence and resourcefulness improve these resources a lot, most of the time these improvements do not come as fast as population growth. And if population growth becomes too fast, people will have a hard time replenishing the lost resources. Let us imagine an island with plenty of grass and abundant source of water. And there is a male goat and a female goat that are made to inhabit the island. Both goats grow healthy and strong. They reproduce. The baby goats become adults and also reproduce. There are more and more goats now and less grass to eat. There will come a time when food will no longer be sufficient to feed all of them. Many goats will either die of famine or sickness. Malnourished goats will easily get sick. If there were few goats left, the grass would start to grow again, and the cycle continues. This is nature's way of solving overpopulation, a very painful way. Let us extend the analogy to human beings. The earth is equivalent to the island, and the first human beings to the first pair of goats. People increase and multiply. They put pressure on the Earth's resources. Some resources are renewable, like agricultural products, but many other are non-renewable, like oil. While it is true that humans' intelligence and resourcefulness improve these resources a lot, most of the time, these improvements do not come as fast as population growth. And if population growth becomes too fast, people will have a hard time replenishing the lost resources. For example, it takes around a million years to reproduce fossil fuels like oil and coal. Our forests are greatly affected by rapid population growth. Timber is harvested so fast because of the need for different needs. The vanishing of the forest has other more serious results. These include denudation of fertile lands, flash floods, lack of fresh water supply, and the silting of lakes, among others. Because of overexploitation brought about by the extreme necessity to feed an ever increasing population, we are destroying a lot of our natural resources. So there are a number of factors that contribute to overpopulation, and these are the leading causes. Number one, improvement in medicine, nutrition, and sanitation. This has effectively reduced the incidence of diseases, increased longevity, and reduced mortality. Number two, agricultural revolution. The development of agriculture has allowed the establishment of communities that could support more people. Also, advances in agriculture effectively reduced the number of manpower requirements in agricultural production. This released more people to other fields of human endeavor. Third, industrial revolution. Industrial revolution enabled people to travel faster and easier. This has also led to migration to places not inhabited or sparsely populated before. Additional communities were established, eventually becoming centers of population growth. Number 4. Economic and social development. According to psychologists and social scientists, economic and social developments have undermined people's sense of identity and security based on traditional ties to extended family, clan, and community. This in turn has heightened their felt need for children as a source of security. Let's talk about the main effects of overpopulation. According to experts, these are the following. Number 1, depletion of natural resources. The earth can only produce a limited amount of water and food, which is falling short of the current needs. Most of the environmental damage being seen in the last 50 odd years is because of the growing number of people on the planet. Number 2, degradation of environment. With the overuse of coal, oil and natural gas, it has started producing some serious effects on our environment. These are the following. The rise in the number of vehicles and industries have badly affected the quality of air. Second, the rise in the amount of carbon dioxide emissions leads to global warming. Third, melting of polar ice caps, changing climate patterns, rise in sea level are few of the consequences that we might have to face due to environment pollution. Third, main effects of overpopulation, conflicts and wars. Overpopulation in developing countries puts a major strain on the resources it should be utilizing for development. These are the following. Conflicts over water are becoming a source of tension between countries, which could result in wars. Second, more diseases to spread and makes them harder to control. So sometimes, because of conflicts and wars, they are using diseases as their weapon. The next one, starvation is a huge issue facing the world, and the mortality rate for children is being fueled by it. And last one, poverty is the biggest hallmark we see when we are talking about overpopulation. Number four, effect of overpopulation is the rise in unemployment. When a country becomes overpopulated, it gives rise to unemployment, as there are fewer jobs to support a large number of people. Under this rise in unemployment is the rise to crime, as people will steal various items to feed their family and provide them basic amenities of life. The fifth and the last, if main effects of overpopulation is the high cost of living. As the difference between demand and supply continues to expand due to overpopulation, because of overpopulation, the prices of various commodities including food, shelter, and healthcare raises. So these are the causes and effects of overpopulation. So let's proceed to the issues and problems concerning population control. So, one basic question that experts often ask is, are the natural resources of a country being depleted fast such that they cannot support the population and recover? If your answer is yes, then the country is considered overpopulated. 90% of our forest has been destroyed. Reforestation is negligible. We have also destroyed a lot of our coral reefs. Let us provide some statistics about population density. There are 4,246 people per square kilometer in Singapore and 1,125 people per square kilometer in the Netherlands and 837.2 people per square meter in Belgium, but only 770 people per square kilometer in Bangladesh. The Philippines has 195.7 per square kilometer, and Indonesia has only 91 people per square kilometer. Can we then consider Singapore, Belgium, and Netherlands overpopulated, and Bangladesh, Philippines, and Indonesia not? The expert will not agree. They believe that the quality of life is better indicator. In the 1970s, the Overseas Development Council came up with a composite index of the Physical Quality of Life Index, or the PQLI, based on life expectancy, literacy, and infant mortality. Based on this index, they rank low in infant mortality. In less developed countries, it is the other way around. The data in the table compare the life expectancy and literacy rate of some countries mentioned above. If this will be used as a criterion on overpopulation, then clearly the first three countries are not overpopulated, whereas the last three are. If the quality of life is to improve and human suffering reduced, then rapid population growth should be curbed. A carefully planned family will help improve the quality of life. Here are some benefits of a carefully planned family which contribute to slower population growth. The first one, it helps lower infant mortality. It aids the survival of the other children in the family. Why? In order to avoid reduction of the quality of life, like poor nutrition, poor shelter and sanitation, poor medical care, and poor education. Fewer, safer, and better spaced births can reduce maternal mortality and generally improve the mother's health. Next, at the family level, there can be economic, social, and psychological benefits associated with small family size. Next, reducing birth rates allows more appropriation for health and education, resulting in healthier children and thus building a more productive labor force. Next, lower fertility rates ease pressures on the natural resources, the environment, and most aspects of Earth's life support system. And finally, slower population growth would be beneficial to economic development for most developing countries. Let's summarize our discussion. So, the population of the world has increased very rapidly. The most notable causes of population increases are advancement in medicine, nutrition and sanitation, agricultural revolution, industrial revolution, and economic and social development. Among the more serious effects of overpopulation are reduction of the quality of life, poor nutrition, poor shelter, poor sanitation, poor medical care, and poor education. Another is overexploitation of natural resources, including forests, arable lands, aquatic products, and mineral resources, and air, water, and land pollution due to advanced technology used to produce more food, to catch more fish, or in general to take care of a very fast growing population. Before we end our discussion today, I just want to share to you a simple reminder coming from our lesson. So, a careful family planning is a painless way of partially solving the problems of rapid population growth. That's all. Thank you and goodbye.